and the money managers, the CBN to be very precise, and Ministry of Finance, they had to come up with policies to be able to address those gaps, and one of which majorly was the import and export foreign exchange window that was put together by the CBN ultimately to address the fears of the foreign investors vis-a-vis being able to repatriate their capital. And that was like the kickstart of the economy from the investment standpoint. That brought engendered a lot of confidence, and a lot of liquidity started coming in. And that was what led to the turnaround. And behold, by the turn of the year, the equities market has done probably the third best in the world.
So during the course of the year, we saw some of the sectors, like the banking sectors, resisting losses in the markets. Tell us what exactly happened. How were they able to weather the storm at that period?
That will speak to how very resilient the Nigerian economy is. As a matter of fact, broadly speaking, hitherto, the instruments were largely undervalued. And so the recession took its toll, and some of the other negative indices took its toll largely on the pricing of the Nigerian equities market. And so when we had the opportunity of a turnaround, nothing was probably going to stop it. The banking sector was able to deliver a very good return to investors this time. And of course, the FMCG were able to deliver very good return. The same thing with industrial sector, industrial goods sector was able to deliver a very good return. I think those three sectors, particularly the agri sector, in fact, the agri sector too performed wonderfully well. You know, those sectors led the campaign this year, and that is it.
We've seen a lot of mop-ups via treasury bills this year. We also had the bonds at the secondary markets doing well. The rates have now come down. What's your assessment of how that panned out this year?
We're simply going to see a very different pricing regime, because federal government, as it were, you know, given where they were coming from, as it were, they are not likely to be under as so much pressure as they were when they first came in. And you can see the reaction, hence the retirement in December of long due on, there was no rollover. Federal government in the first place, they were very emotional, so to speak, with all due respect, in their decision to have come to the market aggressively the way they did, because of course probably they were not prepared for the shocks that took place in the global space vis-a-vis the oil pricing, vis-a-vis, if you notice, when this government came into power, there was a nosedive of commodities in the world. There was a slowdown. Two, inflation took its toll, foreign exchange drought, there was a lot. There was massive unrest in the Niger Delta, there was Boko Haram. So the federal government reacted in a manner that I called emotional, you know. I mean, they had no time on their hands to even plan. So one of the fallout of those emotional whatever decision was to come to the market to even try to breach the budget, which was not out of place. And that led to the, so to speak, heating of the system. I don't want to dwell on the overcrowding of even local investors, local entrepreneurs, and so it got to federal government. It got to federal government. They got later to realize that they could not continue, and in that direction. Hence, they had to take their time to look through, and they found the opportunity of bridging it, using the foreign exploit. And which is commendable.
Let's come down to the toddler level of the markets. That's the NASD OTC, where we were supposed to have the introduction of the Nigeria football leagues on the platform this year. But how did that pan out eventually?
That the initiative ever came up at all, that to me is a lot of success. It's remarkable, and a lot of work is being done. A lot of work is being done, and where the market is waiting. As I speak to you, a lot of things are being, a lot of work is going on. And I can assure you that shortly, the market will see results. And but for the slow side is just because I say that the stakeholders have not yet caught up with or rather, they have not understood the initiative, so to speak, in totality. The stakeholders, what I mean, the owners of the owners of the clubs, and so that's where we are. A lot of things are being done, and I can assure you that very shortly, more importantly, this first quarter into the new year, you will see the market will witness some of those, the effect and the impact of those initiatives.
And how did you find the regulatory space in 2017?
It's all about having to deepen the market and to foster transparency and, engender confidence. That's what that is all about. I mean, you won't have unclaimed dividends sitting down somewhere. The companies are not having the opportunity to utilize, have access to such funds. In some cases, the investors in question having hurdles to have access to such funds, and so to me, it's in order, and it's a sign of good things to come. I mean, if SEC, in its wisdom, is of the opinion that such monies should be channeled into the capital market fund, so to speak, to address developmental issues. I mean, the whole focus is about the bigger picture, to deepen the market. We are evolving, and the process of such movement, you will see skirmishes, you will see frictions, because people will be speaking different languages. But at some point, you will see that the interest of the nation will come first. People will begin to appreciate the essence of regulatory authorities and understand exactly the intent, and the economy will be better for it.
Mr. Abubakar Lawal, the Group Managing Director of GTI Capital there. After the break, Mr. Lawal will give us his forward-looking perspectives of 2018.